Hey everyone, it's back with Charles and Z, and
Hello.
we're back in the car, as I feel like we always are when we're making these videos.
This is our quiet time, right? We have the little one, our 10-month-old son in the back, but our older kiddos, our 6 and 7-year-old, are by their pop, by Charles' granddad. So we get a little time now. There's our little one. He's saying hello, to kind of chit chat. And I think today we wanted to talk about hobbies, right? Adults and hobbies. I think I came up with this topic just because as you get older, you have kiddo, or a lot of people, I should say, have kids. You have your job. You have your other adult responsibilities. But what is it that you enjoy? I think that's important, and that plays a big role in the overall happiness of individuals. And I think right now I'm on a little bit of a journey of trying to find out what is my hobby. Charles, though, on the other hand, I think has multiple passions. And so I want to talk a little bit, or to start off first with, what is your journey as far as hobbies or seeking hobbies? And you could kind of start that off yourself.
Sure. So I always have to have a hobby going on, and I feel like over the last 10 years of my life, I've always been fixated on one particular thing, and it changes every few years.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think it started back when Parker was born, when the first child, our first child was born. Um, because what I found was working, having kids, you could get into kind of a funk where
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you exist just to work and to have kids, and every all the time when you're not working, you're taking kids to do something, or you're grocery shopping, or you're doing things that just 100% revolve around taking care of responsibilities. And I know for me, if I don't have something that I'm doing for myself, I tend to go a little crazy. And so very early on, 2017, when my first child was born, I realized I needed to get into a hobby. And back then, for me, I've always been into working out, and every day I have to do some kind of physical fitness type activity. If it's going to be running, or if it's going to be lifting weights, something like that. And so 10 years ago, when I was looking for a hobby to get into, I got into biking because I had some people in the neighborhood that I was at the time. They were into biking, so like on the road, the little bikes that annoy everybody. I was one of
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those people, and so for probably 5 6 years, I was into biking. That was my thing. Did a lot of stuff. Did a lot of races. Uh, got pretty good. Did a couple century 100 mile races, and so I got pretty into biking. Got to where I was fixing bikes, and that was my thing for a while. Then when we moved out to a place where the roads weren't so good for biking, it was a little bit dangerous. I gave that up in a hurry, and for a little bit of time, I didn't have anything going on. And then that was about the time when the kid's mom, my first wife, when she passed, and shortly after that, I realized that I needed to pick back up a hobby again, or else I was gonna go crazy. And so what I got into at that time was I bought a Subaru BRZ because they looked like a lot of fun, and I saw online where people were modifying them and doing all sorts of fun things with them.
We
And
called her Sue. That was the name.
yeah, and it was a lot of fun. So what I did at that point in time, I had just met Z, and
Yeah.
she was in residency, so she lived an hour and a half away, and so I was commuting all the time between where I lived and where she lived.
Yeah.
And so I bought the Subaru BRZ, 2017 BRZ, and read all the forums online, read all the things that you could do to the car, went on YouTube and learned how to do everything to the car, uh, replaced the whole exhaust system, lowered the car, did
Oh,
did
he
the
loved it.
did new
Yeah.
suspension.
It's a
Did
pretty sweet car. I will say that.
Yeah.
He would drive over to where I was in residency every Wednesday, right? Or we tried to do at least every Wednesday. And that was kind of our date night. So I always used to feel really good, getting picked up in a sports car and zipping out. It was our thing. And I think that was something I really enjoyed. But yes, he would get under the hood at home and do all the customizing possible to suit. But anyway, sorry, I'll let you go.
Yeah, so that hobby persisted until I had done everything that I would reasonably want to do on the car. The next thing was doing a supercharge. The next thing was like an $8,000 thing, and plus it was very dangerous. And she said I wasn't allowed to do it. So that hobby kind of plateaued, and and then around that time, that was about 2021, I think. No, that was about 2022, early 2022, and we had a year in 2022 when we did a lot of traveling. We
Like in 2022?
Yeah,
2023, right?
I thought it was 2022 we did our traveling.
2023, the year of when I graduated residency, we did like Jamaica,
Okay.
Iceland,
Okay.
Canada. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I was getting ready to tell a lie. It wasn't coincide with doing all of our traveling, but
Yeah.
around 2022, for some reason, I got into drones. And when I was a kid, I built model airplanes, and I was always into flying models. I love that, and so I got interested in drones, and so I started flying. I got a small drone. I started flying, and that sort of segued into a hobby of photography, because a drone is basically a camera on a helicopter, and so I was interested in flying, but the other part of that is you have to know what you're doing with photography. So I started learning what photography was all about, and that persisted. Let me think. So I got my 107 drone license. Have done a lot of aerial photography, a lot of aerial videography. Started participating or putting that up on stock sites,
Well, let me
which is
ask
fun.
you,
Uh
let's
huh.
slow down. What is it about photography itself that really piques your interest? You like the idea of the creativity? Like, what is it about that particular, I guess, for lack of a better term, hobby that piques your interest? Can we get Starbucks? That would be
Yeah, we get
great. Yeah.
Starbucks. So
Sorry, I'm a
no,
Starbucks
it's
lover.
fine. So yeah, so sort of around the time that I started getting really big into the drones and drone photography, I realized I realized that I'm creative around photography. Um, that the truly interesting thing wasn't really the drones; it was the photography, and and so with photography, uh, there's so much to learn, and there's so much to do, and there's so many there's so many options around it. So photography is really art, and
Where are we going?
oh, I'm just going around here so we can go back to the Starbucks.
Okay.
Yeah, so photography is really art, and and during this process, I discovered I was artistic creative. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm good, but I have the desire to be artistic creative.
Your photography has gotten really, really good though. Um, I'm really into, I'll let you guys know, I like photography, right? But there are certain types of photography that I'm drawn to. I like pictures where people make the mundane very interesting. For example, Charles has this really great photo of, is it like a hot dog stand or
Yeah, in front
in
of the church in
in front of like
Nashville.
this church in Nashville at nighttime. And the way that he's able to do the lighting or change lighting or edit, I should say, and the filters and things like that It is spectacular. And it's just a regular thing you would see walking down, I guess, the road, but the angle and the lighting, the colors, it just, I think, blows it out the water for me. So I like that type of artwork, which he does. I mean, I love environmental nature photos and stuff like that, but I feel like, you know, of course, for me, nature is beautiful, but just looking at like a hot dog stand or a stairway and seeing the art of that, like he does a really good job at that, and he's grown so much. But yeah, Charles is really into the lens. It's a whole thing.
Let's
Sorry guys,
let's
we're
pause it
gonna
for a second.
have an
Magic Starbucks.
yes. This is the grande dirty chai with the oat milk and the vanilla bean cold foam. Amazing. A must try.
And that's not even a paid promotion.
It's not so good. Anyway, where were we? We were leaving off. You're talking about. Oh, I was talking about you, what I like, and how I think you've grown with your photography. Is there anything else you wanted to add in regards to that, or?
Yeah, so the photography, I feel like I feel like it's getting towards the end of of my search for hobbies because I'm not
What do you mean the end? You can't like find another. You can't
well
go through another phase of life and have something else, or.
well there's so much there. There's so much there, and you know I'm a I discovered with photography that I'm a creative person. I have a desire to go out and create things, and it's interesting because it's kind of like every day I wake up with a little bit of an urge to create something. Now, you know, whether that's some stock photos or if that's, you know, nice pictures of our kids or if that's, you know, even doing these videos, this, the feeling of creating things is something it's kind of like an itch that I've got to scratch on a daily basis. And when I do that, then I feel really fulfilled with my day. So you know, even if 95% of the day is just you know doing family stuff, going to the store, doing shopping, you know, working, you know, all of those things that I have to do on a daily basis. If like 5% or 2.5% of my day, I get to make a video, I get to edit a picture, I get to put something out there that's like you know consummating the creative process, then it's like I feel like I like everything's balanced.
And where am I? Right? I don't have a passion or a hobby as of yet. I was telling Charles just a few minutes ago that I think I spent most of my life in school. If you guys don't know, I'm a family medicine physician. But I spent most of my life doing some type or some form of school. And that took up the majority of my time. And when I did have a break, I would literally stay asleep, be home, be in a holiday with family or something of that nature. Now, when I'm thinking about what do I like to do outside of work and spending time with my family, I think my thing is now, and Charles would probably agree that I've told him this, interior design. We're in the process of trying to figure out where we're going to move to. And I'm excited about getting a new house together. But the only issue that I have now is, that may not be until what, next year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in limbo of what can I do in a smaller frame that I enjoy. And some of you may be saying, well, just like do design, interior, decorate your own home. Yeah, but it's also, I don't want to put the money, I guess, into the home that we're in now if we're not going to be there permanently. Like, I enjoyed choosing the materials and the colors for our kitchen. We remodeled our kitchen last November. And I also thought, though, when we decide to sell, that would benefit us, selling our home, make it more, appealing. But other things, I don't know. I'm not willing to invest if we're not going to be there in the long haul. We
Which
have what
makes
we need.
sense.
We have what we need in the home to make it comfortable right now for the kiddos, you know. But I'm really into redoing a kitchen, a living room, getting the patio together with the right furniture. That really appeals to me, and I think I get that from my mom. My mom, my aunts, they are all about interior design. Charles can tell he's been to my aunt's home, and it's to the T as far as
Yeah, that's good.
cushions and artwork and the different types of mats and things like that. That really speaks to me, and I think that's how I create. I like to create spaces that feel welcoming, that are aesthetically pleasing. um, but what can I do in a smaller scale? I think it's where I'm at. What do you think I can do? What do you think would appeal to me?
Well, I've been encouraging you to try to find find something that fits within your available space, so that it's fulfilling. Because uh,
If you guys don't know, I said I'm a physician, but I also work full time. So Monday to Friday, I get into the office. I try to get into the office now at 7:30, and then a good day I'll leave at 6. And then of course when I come home in the evening, it's trying to take a shower, dinner, spend time with the kiddos, and bed again. And that's most days. Friday nights are normally our date night, and then we may have an hour or two of alone time on the weekend. So, but yeah, that's just my schedule now. So shoot.
so the question is, what's a hobby that you could do that's not going to be something that's going to conflict with your life and the time that you have available, and that's going to be fulfilling for you at the same time?
I don't know. I like to create in a different way than you do, right? And I find for me that space is what I like to create. And I'm not really sure about anything else, right? I'm not into knitting. I've looked into, like, maybe I'm into a certain type of dance when I was young, like African dance. There's nowhere close that really offers that. And even if they did, that would also be something schedule wise that I don't know that I can fit in my schedule, right? Because a dance class is certain days or certain times. I need something that would give me a little bit of flexibility where I can work on my own schedule. You know what I mean? Just like how with photography, you're able to edit or look at photos or run out early in the morning. You do it on your own time.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind something that lets me move my body or dance a little bit. It just, besides just doing my own little YouTube videos, you know, that's the only way I would get dance in. But what I really loved about dance when I was younger, FYI, I used to do dance when I was in like high school a little bit. I loved it. I loved dancing with other ladies, the socialization aspect about it. But now with kiddos and the work schedule, I just don't see how a dance class would fit in something that I would consistently be able to do.
If you're watching this video and you have ideas, leave them in the comments.
Yes. But all right, guys, we're going to head into the Costco. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying our videos, don't forget,
Like and subscribe below.